Thank you for watching another Providing Resources for Emergency Preparedness YouTube video. This is my famous roast chicken that I finally call Get Your Man Chicken. And I tease my girlfriends and I tell them all the time, if you make this delicious roast chicken for your man, he will definitely. Today I'm going to show you step by step how I was able to create this delicious roast chicken. Started on roasting our easy simple chicken by showing you the ingredients. First we're going to need some black pepper, and I've already taken a moment to grind up some so I don't have to put my hands on it while I'm touching my chicken. You're going to need some garlic powder, some paprika, kosher salt, a little poultry seasoning. I love this stuff from Tenzi's, it's really good. Some thyme, rosemary, and onion. And extra virgin olive oil. I've put a little in this carafe already. You're going to need a piece of onion, not this whole thing, or you're going to need the whole onion. And you're going to need a piece of orange and a little lemon. And I've already put out some garlic cloves. And we're going to use some fresh organic carrots. And we're going to need a whole stick of butter, as usual. For our hardware, we're going to need just a small saucepan or a small skillet to melt our butter in. This is a roasting pan, glassware, that I'm going to put the chicken in when it's done with my vegetables in the bottom. And I'm going to use this tray to season up my chicken. You're going to need a bowl to toss your vegetables in the olive oil, a little peeler to peel your carrots since we're using real organic carrots, and another cutting board for cutting up your vegetables. And here I have an organic small chicken that I purchased from Whole Foods. So that's what we're going to need to make our chicken. So let's get started by setting our oven. So I want to set my oven to 375 degrees. Alrighty. And while that's going, I want to get my butter melted so it can have an opportunity to cool down so that I can work with it with my hands. I'm not going to use a brush. I'm actually going to get in there with my hands and spread the butter over the chicken with my hands. So I want to set my oven to low. Alrighty. So set my oven to low, and we're going to get that butter melted, and next we're going to chop up our vegetables and assemble our spices so that we can have them ready to go before we start touching on them. So next we're going to get our aromatics cut up, and I like to use an orange, a little lemon, and a little onion with garlic inside of my bird. When I do my turkey, I do it the exact same way, except I use fresh rosemary, fresh thyme inside. But since I have a small cavity on that organic chicken, I don't want to, cram too much up in there. So I'm only going to use a piece of each of this fruit, but I'll save the rest for later. So let's get that cut up. So I have a lemon here. And like I said, I don't need the whole thing. I only need part of it. So I'm going to just slice that up. Because that cavity on that chicken is small. It's not a big bird because it's organic. And it hasn't been plumped up and whatnot. So the same thing with this orange. We don't need sticker on it. Okay. So the same thing with the orange. I'm going to just cut up a piece of it because that orange and lemon really gives a good flavor and makes for a good gravy at the end of the day too. So that should be enough to fit into my bird. And now I'm going to cut up a little onion. And I don't need the whole thing. And I'm keeping the onion on my butter. And you see my butter is almost done, so I'm just going to turn off the heat and let the residual heat take it the rest of the way. And I'm going to move it off the aisle so it doesn't burn. Alright, so I'm going to cut up our onion, and I don't need this whole thing. I only need part of it. So I'll peel that off, cut the rest over there. And I need about this much onion. And it's not so much about measuring as it is just looking at it and seeing what looks like enough to you. Alrighty. Because like I said, there's a small cavity for that bird, and you can only get so much up in there. Alrighty, take that end off. So, alrighty. So you want about that much onion. And I'm going to slice it. Alright. I'm going to slice that in half, and you want about that much onion. I'm putting that in that bowl. And then I'm going to take my garlic. I got some whole garlic pieces here, and I'm going to toss that in the bowl. And I'm going to use a little of my olive oil. And I'm going to put that over there. And a little of my seasonings. I'll save that for my chicken. So I'm going to crank a little pepper over in there, because I want the inside of my bird to get some flavor too. And I'm going to add a little garlic. And you can just see what it looks like. I know this is not exact. So I'm going to add a little garlic. And a little thyme. And a little rosemary. Alrighty. And that is enough for the inside of my bird. And I'm going to grab a little spatula here, and I'm just going to toss all of that around in that olive oil so it sticks. Alrighty? And I'm going to set that to the side, because this is what we're going to put in our cavity of our bird. Alright, so next we're going to cut up our onions, and I like to lay my onions flat. You don't have to chop them up fancy, because they're just going to go in the dish over there. So I'm just going to slice them up and toss them in my bowl. And I like to lay them flat to keep from cutting my fingers off, because these wool stuff knives are very sharp. Okay, so that's in the bowl. Alright. And I've already rinsed my carrots, and now I just need to peel them and cut them up. So, to make it quick, I'm going to line up the bottom ends on this one. I'm going to cut that part off. That's the part I don't want. And I'm going to set those to the side. And I'm going to flip them over. And I'm going to line them up again. And I'm going to cut off that top part I don't want. Alrighty. And then I'm just going to peel off the rest. So, you should always have a nice, sharp potato peeler in your kitchen tools. Alrighty? So I'm just going to finish doing this to all of my carrots. Alrighty, so I'm on my last carrot here, and carrots are really good for you. And you know, people today, we get away from the food that we used to eat, the good root vegetables, the potatoes, the carrots. You know, you really need to get back to basics and start putting these good old-fashioned heirloom vegetables back in your diet. So I'm just going to clean up this mess, and I'm going to come back and slice up my carrots, and we're going to get our vegetables seasoned up. Alrighty, so I've got my carrots sliced up, as you can see, and I've got them lined up so it can make it easier for me just to chop them. Now these big ones here, this big baby, I'm going to divide this one in half, because I want my carrots to cook even. Okay, so I'm going to lay that flat and cut those in half. So they're now basically about the same size, and I'm just going to go down the line and cut up my carrots. And I'm going to cut them fairly big, because I don't want them too small, because they're going to cook for an hour and a half along with the chicken. Alright. Okay, and one last one. Let me get that off of there. Okay. And this one is so big, I'm going to cut that one again. Alright, so now I'm going to take my carrots and put them in the bowl with my onions. Alright, and I'm going to save this for my chicken again. So I'm going to add a little pepper to my carrots as well. And you want to flavor all the levels of your meal. You want the flavor to be in all areas. So, again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab my seasoning. I'm going to add a little garlic, and this is just a guesstimate. Put enough until it looks like enough to you, to your flavor taste. So that's my garlic. So that's my garlic and my pepper. I'm going to add a little paprika, because again, I want to have some flavor in my vegetables, because we're going to eat those. Alrighty, I want a little salt. And the juices from that is going to be our pan gravy, a little poultry seasoning, just a dab it, do you? Alrighty, a little thyme, love my thyme, just enough till it looks like enough. Don't eat all that, put that back. A little rosemary. Alrighty. And I'm going to leave out the onion powder because I have onions in there already. And then once again, I'm going to come in here with my little olive oil. And I'm going to toss that in the olive oil. Alrighty. Make sure I get all of that out. Alrighty. So I'm going to toss my vegetables around. And I want to get all the onion broke up and in there. And you can see I've seasoned my carrots, and this is really easy to do to make a good roast chicken for your family. And you know when your man works hard all day and he comes home, he wants a good meal. And when you work hard all day and come home, you want a good meal too. So he might be making this for you. So I'm going to bring my pan over, and I'm going to put this at the bottom of my pan. And these carrots and onions are going to absorb any juices. And because I'm going to set the chicken right on top of here. Alrighty, to cook. Alrighty, so before I go touching all on my chicken, I got that other mess cleaned up. And I want to get my spices ready to go with my butter that I'm going to rub on my chicken. Now, most people I know, they only use salt and pepper on top of their chicken. Now, for me, that wouldn't work in my house. My man likes a little bit more than salt and pepper. And so I have to spice it up. He likes a little flavor to his food. So give this version a try and kind of spice up things on your chicken and see if your man doesn't like it a little better. So I'm going to add a few more spices to my butter that I'm going to pour over the top of my chicken and massage in. Okay, so I already got some butter in this bowl that I've been saving. I'm going to add some kosher salt. And again, this is something where you really just have to look at it and see what looks like enough to you. Alrighty? And then garlic. And this is going on the top of the chicken. And you want your chicken to have some flavor. A little onion. I'm going to use a lot less onion. So that much onion. Alrighty. And then, as always, a little poultry seasoning. Alrighty. And I'm going to leave out the rosemary, but I am going to do the paprika. And my last one is going to be a little bit of thyme. And I'm just going to pinch that and add it. Okay, so now that I got my seasonings in my bowl, I'm going to take my hand and I'm just going to work those around to mix those up. Alrighty. Okay, that looks good. So that's enough seasoning to go on top of my chicken. Alright, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to grab my chicken. Alright, and I've already washed it and rinsed it, checked it over for pin feathers because this is an organic chicken. And I got them all patted dry because I want my butter and seasonings to stick. And I'm going to start with the back part of my chicken. A lot of people I see on Food Network television shows, they only season the top of the chicken. But if you're going to eat both sides of the chicken, don't you want both sides to have flavor? So we're going to season the front and the back of our chicken. So now I got my butter, and it's ready. for me to handle. Let me grab an oven mitt. Alrighty. And I'm going to pour some of that butter right over the top of my chicken. Some of it. Alrighty. Get that back in the pan. And I'm going to massage that butter in. Right? Because we want our chicken to be thoroughly seasoned. And I'm going to grab the rest. Alright? And I'm going to massage that on top. All over. And you got to get your hands a little dirty on this one, ladies and gents. Alrighty. So we have our butter ready. Okay. So you see me get my seasonings earlier. And I'm going to grab that with my hands dirty. That's why I put it in a separate bowl so it can be ready. And I'm going to season that front side. And I'm going to massage all of that seasoning in my chicken. On the back and in the front, on the wings. Alrighty. You can see how the seasoning is being spread around. Alrighty. It's not a pretty thing, but it's a practical thing because you want your chicken to have really good flavor. So I'm going to season this part up as well. And I'm going to use all of this seasoning. Because again, and I'm going to season a little bit on the inside. Okay. So I got the seasoning pretty good all over. So I don't have to rub too much on this side. But I just want to make sure that I got the wings, the legs. Because, you know, you like to eat the wings and the legs. Okay, so that looks good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my wings and I'm going to tuck them. So I'm going to lift my little chicken up and I'm going to tuck that wing back there. And I'm going to lift my other chicken up, side of the chicken, and I'm going to tuck that wing back there so I have perfectly tucked wings. Alrighty. And so I got these unruly legs here, but we're going to do something with those after I wash my hands. Okay. So then I have my oranges, lemon, and onion, and garlic that I mixed up earlier with the seasoning on it, and I'm going to place that right in the cavity. Okay? You want a little onion in there. I'm going to get that garlic in there. Like I said, you didn't need the whole thing because this is organic chicken. It's not that big like the big monsters you get in the store. So you just need a little bit. And we might not be able to use it all. Alrighty. But we're going to get in what we can get in. See how I'm putting that seasoning in. And like I said, it's not a pretty picture, but it's a functional picture because it produces a great roast chicken. Alrighty. So after I wash my hands, because you can see my hands are absolutely filthy, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to truss my chicken and I'm going to get rid of this, and then we're going to get our chicken on our platter and into the oven. We'll be right back. I got a good length of butcher's twine, and I'm going to cut it here just with a utility knife. Okay. Alrighty, and I'm going to move that out my way. Alrighty. So I got a good length of butcher's twine, and I want to truss my chicken to kind of control the legs a little bit. Okay. So I'm trying to get it where my daughter can see what I'm doing and videotape at the same time and truss. So trying to do this on camera is very hard to do. So I'm just going to wrap that back around. Because you don't have to do it fancy. You just have to do it where you get it bound up and you have enough room to cut the twine off when it's time to eat. Because nobody wants to eat butcher's twine for dinner. Okay, so that's it. So now I'm going to pick up my chicken. I'm going to bring him over here. And I'm going to set him on my bed of vegetables. And my oven is ready to go. So I'm going to wash my hands and I'm going to get them in the oven. So I've got my hands washed and cleaned up and I'm ready to place my chicken in the oven at 375 degrees for an hour and a half. Alrighty. Right. So it's been an hour and a half. Honestly, hour and 45 minutes because during the time the chicken was in the oven, I was getting my garlic mashed potatoes on the stove, and also my fried corn that I'm going to pair with my family's dinner tonight. So I know our chicken is ready and the time is up, so let's get it out the oven and take a look at it. Oh. The bad thing about cooking bacon is the smells that wake her through the house. Right here on the plate so you can see just how moist and tender that chicken is. And crispy, hear that crispiness on the skin? Alrighty. So that chicken is ready. So I just want to show you how moist and flaky and tender. Woo. Let me put this down. Alright, so this is going to be the shot right here. I just want to show you how moist and flaky and tender that chicken turned out. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a blessed day.